We love to ask everybody, all of our guests, which you probably heard if you did watch Dave's episode. We love to ask everybody kind of like rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay.
To kind of sum up our time together. Some of which we might have touched on, but it's kind of making you really choose and think about what you're.
I'm not very well watching Charlie Brown, so I'll try to be decisive.
Right. So you already mentioned Charlie Brown, and that's okay. That could really be your absolute favorite cartoon character. So I'll just start with that one and say, like, do you have one absolute favorite cartoon character?
Yeah, it'll probably have to be Charlie Brown. Yeah. As far as like all the little merchandise and things, I have too, like a lot of Charlie Brown things.
Yeah. Well, he is everything. He's the best. Okay, so then I will double back to say, like, do you have a favorite cartoon thing, which would be a comic strip, a comic book, or an animated cartoon? But one really favorite thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard to choose.
But like Charlie Brown, is there another one you just go back to more than anything else, or have the most?
Oh, that's so hard to pick. Yeah, I mean, of course, like the Charlie Brown cartoons, but I've got to like make a little room for the ducks, the duck representation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those old like the Trick or Treat cartoon. I love that one. The music, the voice acting, the animation, the colors.
Yeah,
love that one.
I agree. I think that the colors in those Donald Duck. There's actually an Instagram account that just shows palettes from old cartoons. I love that, and usually they have a lot of ones from the Donald Duck shorts, and like they are like gorgeous. I would sometimes screen cap it, like look at that palette. Screen cap that. Yeah, so good. Okay, then one absolute favorite cartoonist above all others.
I mean, I know it has to be Charles Schulz, though. I mean, I live like 90 minutes from the Schulz Museum.
Yeah.
So I remember try to go up there at least a couple times a year, and I still get emotional seeing like his cartooning table and all of the artwork. So yeah, I think like he's just so, like you said, like so humble about it too.
Yeah.
Where there's something, it's so weird because like with Disney is Disney and it's huge.
Right.
Charlie Brown, like, I mean, there's Charlie Brown merchandising everywhere. There's a Peanuts Museum in Tokyo, which we didn't see, but like there's Charlie Brown merch everywhere in Japan. But there's still something that feels like really small and homey and like personal, you know, like not corporate about Charlie, even though like Peanuts has a lot of stuff out there.
Right.
And it just still feels very like small. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah.
I agree with you. I feel like these days there's a flood of Peanuts merchandise being made. But for most of the time when he was alive, it was very tightly controlled.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a lot of Peanuts merchandise made. And in his lifetime, he actually was the one who gave the final yes or no. So he signed off on everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now there's a podcast, The Woman Who Does It Now. Have you ever listened to the podcast?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. I'll have to send you the link. The name is escaping me at the moment. But yeah, there's a podcast. It's two people, and one of them is the woman who's in charge of all of the licensing. And it's really interesting to hear like the inside stories. You know,
I think like as far as I know, because I know a few people that work up there. So where the Schulz Museum is like very, very close to where his studio is, and that whole Peanuts licensing, like everything's still in that small. So I think that has something to do with it. Like his wife Jeannie is still very closely involved. I really love that museum. Like anyone who loves Peanuts, like you have to go to that museum.
I was there,
It's such like you just feel like how much love is put into that museum.
Yes.
It constantly has it's a small museum, but it constantly has new exhibits that are like curated so lovingly, and just
Did you see the current one with the books on the wall?
I haven't yet. I followed the Instagram.
I almost want to get on a plane and go out there, because I have tons of those books upstairs. I have a bedroom that's all Snoopy upstairs. And and one of the things I have is I have a bookshelf that's like all those books, but they have them displayed cover out on a wall. And I was like,
the way that they curate everything too is just like design wise, just so beautiful to look at. So
yeah. And I saw an exhibit there years ago when I went there that was about the animated specials. Did you? I don't know. It was a while ago. It might have been 10 years ago, but they actually had cell setups and they had them like expanded. And it was so good.
I love that. I love especially the Great Pumpkin. Like we said, talking about the colors and design. And they have a tiny little museum there where they play Peanuts specials and shorts. So like that's every time I go, I'll tell my husband, like, sorry, we're watching, whatever it is. It's for your life, Charlie. Need to watch it on the big screen.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So cool.
Okay, so let's see what else. Do you have a favorite medium? Do you have a favorite art supply or medium that you like to use?
That's a good question, because so much of my work now is digital, and I don't find that like I'm a great digital artist. I just transitioned to it because of like the efficiency of it.
But just like practical reasons.
Right. Yeah. But I guess like this is a really boring answer, but all of my best work starts out as thumbnails in my sketchbook, which are drawn very tiny with just like a Bic mechanical pencil. Like, it's nothing like really fancy. I mean, I used to work in like ink brushes and watercolor and do that before I transitioned to digital and stuff, and that was always fun. But now it's like super simple, just pencil and paper. But
we all have those things that are our comfort zones. So that's it. That's your.
I will say, like, I need like the pencil to have like a bit of like chunkiness and softness to it. I don't do very well with like a micron pen that's really hard and tiny fine line. Like those, like technical pens I'm not great with.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, for your writing process, do you thumbnail first or do you do like outline first? How do you kind of approach?
It's a little bit of both, but I think probably everything starts visual, because normally it starts with the character for me. So it starts with like the picture, this drawing of this character, and then fleshing out like who they are. But with comics, like it's been a learning experience because I have a background in screenwriting. Like some of my initial stories, I went like full on, like wrote a script. And then I realized once I started thumbnailing, like, it was like, don't need that, like you're changing so much of it, developing so much visually. So I try to just work with like a basic outline, and then in thumbnails craft a lot of the story.
And are you approaching this new book differently than the Reggie stuff? Or?
Just because Pip is one continuous narrative, so it's like same page count as Reggie, about the same like reader age, but because Pip is just a different structure of story for hers, I did have a little bit more of a structured outline, whereas Reggie, it was like kind of each story was a paragraph, like this is kind of what happens, and then I could thumbnail with Pip. But now I'm working on a middle grade story that's like a new challenge for myself. So that I went and full on did like a very detailed synopsis, because I figured like I really need to have the story's more complex. So I needed to have the pieces figured out a little bit more.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, your comics are so, and I could see the connection with Peanuts and that kind of comics because they're so clear and like it's like streamlined, but not. It's like so simple, but no simpler than it needs to be. It's like just a perfect balance. It's like even as something like the the amount of words per panel balloon. It's like sometimes people get really bogged down, and some, but I just feel like the flow is just really nice, and the clarity is really great.
Thank you. I think part of that is me being a little bit like of a lazy artist, where I don't find myself like super great at drawing, and I don't want to draw any more than I need to. So I think part of that is from that, but I definitely do try to be conscious of streamlining like dialogue and not having it be too wordy, not just like to engage the young readers, but also I find like sometimes I think shows now, a lot of sitcoms are too much talking, like too much talking, and not like you said in comics, like it's just visually off-putting to have a huge block of text and a word balloon, right? But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but also, you have that experience as a teacher, and you're conscious of the age and the level of your reader too. And I think that that's part of it too, is you're creating these books kind of like as a perfect. It's the perfect, like they're perfect, Jen. These books are perfect.
Thank you. I'm using you for my next book blurb.
Yeah.
The cover blurb.
Yeah, but it really is. And I have quite a collection of young comics. Because I would like to do them too. So I just started just reading everything that I could and devouring them. And so many of them, if they're losing my interest, I think like, how are they keeping like kids' interest?
Yeah. I will say that being a teacher has helped a lot. Like I can't imagine making books for little kids, and I don't have children of my own, but like being around kids and being tapped into their sensibility really helps a lot. And I haven't been in my own classroom for a couple years, but I still teach after school cartooning classes, because not only is it fun for me and it gets me out of the house, but I find like creatively I need to be interacting with kids, because I think it's, like you said, so easy to lose touch of like how they speak and what is interesting to them and how they act. And definitely like we don't want to make it like how we think they should act, or it's about representing children. That's something that I really hope like comes through with Reggie, is even though he's like a little crazy penguin dressed like Dennis the Menace,
but he's very real.
Feel like sincere representation of a child, where he gets crazy sometimes, and that's okay. Like, we all do. So that's what I hope comes through with Reggie.
Yeah, and I really do, like, I feel like when I read a comic for kids and it really like knocks me over, like I have my standouts. My standouts are usually in a pile, while the other ones are like on my shelf. Like they go on my shelf, they stay on my shelf, but I usually keep the ones that I like the most closer to look at more often. And I just recently I did like a short thing to talk about Gnome and Rat. Do you know the Gnome and Rat books by Lauren Stoller? I love those.
Yeah. I mean, she's someone where I look at her work and I'm like, my work doesn't look as good as her.
We
I'm like,
that to ourselves.
Yeah. But yeah, her work is really fun and cute and lively.
Yeah, but again, like that's her voice, right? And you have yours.
Right.
And like I think I mentioned recently to Chris, like there's have you ever seen these are a little bit older books, Peter and Ernesto by Graham Annable.
Yeah, and he's an animator, so that comes through in his art
for sure. But also, it's his storytelling, which is like really, it's really great. So, and each person, like you, Lauren, and Graham Annable, like you all kind of just dial that in like perfectly. Whatever, we've got your characters, you've got your storytelling, you have your actual cinematic sense of your own in there, and they're so good.
Right. So even though you didn't get into comics super young, you were basically training yourself for that by studying filmmaking and animation, and then like all those skills came to later make cool comics. So.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how things sort of, came full circle. It was just a very roundabout way of getting there, but
yeah.
That's
awesome.
That's cool. All right, do you have your next rapid fire question?
Yeah, so do you have a favorite thing to draw?
Oh, I mean, I guess just like expressive, funny little animals, like I don't necessarily have like a favorite thing. But yeah, like Reggie and Pip, they're really fun for me because they're little animated type of animals. For the longest time, like I would not draw humans. I'm like, I can't do it, won't do it. It's not going to look good.
Yeah.
It's probably like how Charles Schultz felt about Farron the cat, where he's like, why? Like, I'm not drawing cats. But for this middle grade thing, I was like, okay, the story is not going to work with like anthropomorphic animals. So that was something that I've been working on and trying to challenge myself and draw humans, but that still feels like me. So I kind of came up with this sort of like, they have like Muppet noses, which I think takes the edge off for me, where they're like, okay, they're still a little cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we both, I mentioned to Chris, like, I really enjoyed your library. When you proposed your library,
Tales,
moments in the library. Yeah. And so like that's kind of like a little bit of into your drawing humans,
Yeah, exactly. They were exercises. Yeah, they were exercises in like, okay, you got to start getting used to drawing humans, and also an exercise in not being too precious, because I'm very aware that like my drawings are not the best drawings, but you only have a certain amount of energy. And so like these journal comics, I'm not going to spend a week like polishing them. Right. So being okay with a certain level of like roughness and ugliness, and sometimes there's a charm that comes out of things that are imperfect anyway.
Oh, I think so.
100%. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
You think you'll ever collect those, or just doing them here and there?
I think it would be fun to kind of like make a little library comic zine. I still have some like in my sketchbook that I haven't, just because I've been on a deadline with Pip, and then this new project I've been trying to work on. I'm at like the sample pages phase now, which is like very labor intensive. But yeah, once I have another little break, I'll probably bust out a few more of those, because I still have like a little collection of ideas in my sketchbook.
Yeah, they're super fun. Then is there one thing that is your least favorite thing to draw? The thing that you're like, oh, I don't want to draw that.
I mean, weirdly enough, like I don't like doing big exterior shots of like a park or a forest or things like that. Like I actually enjoyed drawing Reggie's room and all the little toys and things in there. That I didn't mind. But once it was him in the park with the dog thing, I was like, how can I draw a park with drawing the least amount of trees and parks that I could draw? And when we were
park benches are
when I still had Esther as my editor at Little Brown, and we were brainstorming the second Reggie book, I think it was for the pet talent show, Rover, which takes place in like a community center. Originally, she was like, what if it's at like kind of a street fair thing? And I was like, oh my God, like a crowd scene in a park with a bunch of trees? Like, that is not happening. So,
oh my gosh. Festival tents in perspective.
I was like, no, I'm not. I don't like, I love the idea, but if I'm the one drawing it, that's not going to happen. And then the other, I mean, I know like bicycles are big, like people don't like drawing those. But another funny thing was with Reggie, I needed a tiny little short, like interstitial. So I'm like, okay, I need for the second book a story. It's got to have all his friends. I'm trying to like tick these boxes. Like I want it to have his friends in it. It needs to be outdoors. They need to be like physically active. So I'm like, he's having a race with his friends. And my second editor, Sam, was like, what if they have a bicycle race? I'm like, nope. I'm not drawing Reggie and his three friends on bicycles. So we're like, what about a sack race? I'm like, that's perfect. I don't even have to draw their So that one may be like, do children even have sack races nowadays? Right. Oh, well, they do in Reggie's world.
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. They probably do if they still have field day, right? If school.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or maybe Reggie will bring it back. You never know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so what inspires you the most? And it doesn't have to be an artistic inspiration. It could be anything. What do you find most inspirational?
Yeah, I think it's just like characters and like human nature, like finding the humor in that. Um, just like if I'm watching TV or people or things that I really love in films and books, or like when a character feels really authentic and funny, or like, I mean, I love stories that seem so simple, you know, like it seems so simple, but if you're really like hone in on this person as a character, like the story doesn't have to be the highest stakes story. So yeah, I think like I'm inspired by just like really characters that you want more of, you know, want to see more of. And that's what I hope to do in my stories, and have them feel sincere too, like intentional, right? Like they're not doing something because I think it would be funny if they do it. Like this character really is, that's how they would act in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you said earlier how you weren't somebody who was always drawing when you're about you spend more time observing, and I think that that's something that is it's something that comes into play a lot. If you're someone who's really observing people, right, and you're almost like your radar is always you know, and kind of watching things and recording them somehow.
Yeah, and especially like that came through in my training for screenwriting, because you're writing mostly dialogue. And so sometimes I think like my ear is tuned to like when things sound really unnatural, like a child would never say that, you know, or even like some things you learn when you're screenwriting is when we talk, we don't really say, like I don't say, oh Kelly, by the way, Kelly, hey Kelly, you know, like I'm not saying your name repeatedly. And sometimes in dialogue, like if we're writing something, we have a tendency to default to these things that maybe aren't really natural. So yeah, I think tuning into how people really act. And again, that's like so important for me to be around kids all the time, to remember that and not do like a Xerox of a child, like what I think a child is like or would say, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have been teaching character design for a long time online, and I think I've taught it enough times to see certain patterns in the way people think children should be drawn.
Oh,
and I think it also, like you're talking about like character and internal stuff, but I see it a lot in like visual things that people do when they design kid characters.
Like what do you notice?
Just so many generic expressions and poses. Like everybody draws their kid like this. Hey, you know, like arms up, you know, like I don't know if I've ever seen a kid other than like in mid motion maybe do that while jumping off a swing or something, you know. But there'll just be pages and pages of kids drawn like that in picture book dummies that I see, and I'm just like, no, like they're not real kid gestures.
It almost makes me think of like, remember like the really old medieval paintings where like babies would look like little shrunken humans. It's giving you the creeps. It's like that's like
babies. Yes. Yeah.
Have you seen a real child?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's that's like the first thing is like you have to see real kids to be able to draw real kids. You have to understand, you know.
Yeah. Like, and I think that's like the skill that goes into cartooning too, is like animators and cartoonists are really like, you have to be good at observing, right? Because sometimes you're modifying things to communicate, like especially in animation, right? Like the squash and stretch, like you know, things don't really squish down, but if you want it to read, you have to do that. And same with cartooning, right? Like there may be things that you have to cheat a little bit to make the feeling or the expression come through. So I think, like observing is such an important skill. To be like an effective cartoonist.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the deep question. what do you hope that people get out of your work, or like the this is your life question? What do you hope people will take away from your work?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's just like I don't have any ambitions to be like the next Charles Schultz, right? Like
Right.
I mean, I don't feel like I'm ever going to fill shoes like that. But what I hope is that my work just makes people happy, you know, like I think like the ultimate compliment would be, you know, like every day I'm like, oh, I just, you know, did a Mr. Sack, or oh, that was like the other day my we went to visit my little nephew. He just turned 2. And so his mom was saying, oh, we let the big brother who's 5 pick out a gift. And of course he picked out a gift that he wanted.
Yeah.
That he knew the little baby wouldn't play with. And I said, oh, you kind of did a Homer Simpson where he bought Marge the bowling ball for the,
Yeah.
and so like, these kind of references where like these characters feel so real to you that you evoke them. So I think that would be like, of course, making readers happy, which I see when I get little letters from kids or visit them and they're laughing. That's such a nice compliment, or like they want to read the book, or like they're not talking to me because they're so engrossed reading the book. Like those are all wonderful things. But I think like that big, huge compliment is like it takes up space in somebody's brain where they're like, oh, that's a Reggie.
Right. Yeah.
So that I think that would be a really special thing.
Yeah. And the letters from kids, I always say like it's like we need to get paid to make the books, but I feel like, oh my gosh, they're better than money. Like the letters from kids are just like some kid cared enough to sit down and, you know, and write that it was that important to them that they took the time.
And it's hard because, like you said, it's a job, and I hope that it's a job that I can have the privilege to keep doing and being paid for. But that also is still fun, right? Like it doesn't feel like, oh great, I have to make another book. Like this is something I've wanted for so long, and you know, put in a lot of long hard hours as a teacher to like eventually become part-time teaching, and then like make the leap and do this like crazy kind of freelance gig. I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, oh God, like, you know, publishing sucks, this, that, like everything has like its negative aspects, but I hope that like it always feels like a gift that I get to do this. But it is really easy to think like, well, somebody rejected my thing again, or oh, I didn't get a starred review, like this sucks. But once you realize like, wait a second, like I'm making this for children, and if they like it, like that's really what matters, you know. Like that's what it's about.
It's what it is. It really is. Yeah, for sure. And even my own like roller coaster ride, the thing that I've held on to is that like the thing that's the best. It is just the best when you can be somewhere like, you know, if you're doing a school visit or you're doing, you know, a bookstore thing, and you get to interact with the kids, and they're just like you said, like they're so excited that they're not talking to you, they're turning the pages of your book, or they have like questions that you never thought of about your own book and your character, and you're kind of caught up like, wow, that kid really thought about that. I never thought about that, you know.
Yeah, when they're thinking of your character as a real character, you know, real talking, breathing character.
I find like kids are really remarkable, and that's something that I was fortunate as an elementary school teacher to really witness firsthand. Is you think like they're really like amazing little people, and I think a lot of times adults don't give them enough credit. You know, they're like, oh, they're little kids, they don't understand this, or you know, but like I feel like it's adults that have the problem. Like I could work with kids all day. It's once the adults, it's like, why can't you get along? You know, like why can't you use your words to problem solve? Like my little 7-year-olds don't have an issue with that. Like kids are really remarkable, and I feel like sometimes it's like there's so much badness in the world that when you're around little kids, like you're just filled with hope. Like okay, like these little guys know what's up, like yeah,
for sure. So you're working on you have your Pib and Pals book, and then you have another book that you're working on. So I'm not asking you to tell me anything or tell us anything about that, but do you have some other looming large, if there was a dream project if somebody would say yes, no question, money's no object.
Yeah, this is the one I don't even have to hesitate on.
Okay.
Because I'm usually like so bad making decisions. But yes, it would be if one of my books could become a stop motion production with dwarf animation in Tokyo, that would be like, yes, let's do it. Yeah, I love it. I don't know if you've seen the Rilakuma series on Netflix.
No.
But Dwarf Studios in Japan was the stop motion studio that made Rilakuma. And the first season I loved. I think it came out around like 2020 when we were just all miserable and locked in our houses. Kind of like a balm watching it. Like he's this little I don't know if you watched, but I loved this as a kid too, the stop motion Paddington Bear specials.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
So Rilakuma is like this big giant bear, but whereas Paddington was this really sweet, soft, cuddly bear with all paper cutouts, Rilakuma is like 100% stop motion puppet world, and the animation is amazing. The stories are super cute. It's translated from Japanese, so it takes place in Japan, and it's basically like it's like my dream world. It's like this adult woman that lives with like these bears and a little like bird. It's almost like having Alvin and the Chipmunks. You know, it's like these animals that just live with you, and we don't ask questions about it. But yeah, it's awesome, and I love stop motion. So I feel like if I could have an opportunity to work with a studio like that, like have my work be adapted into stop motion, that would be so cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. I've never thought about that, like stop motion adaptation. That would be so cool. Because one of the things I found when I was young, mind-blowingly fascinating, was watching the Rankin Bass specials and wondering how they made things. Like I want to know to this day, and I know there's a big book, but I've even looked through the big book and like it doesn't answer my questions. I really want to know, what did they really do to make water? How did they really, like all
or like little
things.
bubbles and things?
Yeah. Like what were the actual materials, right? And I think, Chris, you saw a Leica exhibit, right?
Oh yeah.
At some point. So I've never seen even that stuff like in person, but even to see the things, in person I'm fascinated by that. So I'm gonna look up I hope I can still find it. I know it's probably not on Netflix.
It's still on Netflix.
You think it is? Okay.
I think it is.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
but I can send it to you. Rilakuma it translates from Japanese to mean relaxed bear. So he's just like this lazy bear. I recommend the first season. Highly recommend the first season. The second season, I don't know if they switched like production companies. It also is in a theme park, which like seems like a stop motion animation nightmare.
Yeah.
So there's just certain things you just can't do, right? Like the background characters are kind of frozen because like I wouldn't want to stop motion animate all these background characters. Yeah. So second one, I didn't get through the whole season. They also are the animation studio behind the I forget, it's not called Pokemon Island, but it was like a stop motion series on Netflix where it was like a vacation island filled with Pokemon characters, but also super cute, and just the little dolls that they made were really awesome.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah. Did you see was it Oni, the Tonko House? I loved that. I really
also amazing. Yeah. That was one where I was like, is this CG or is it stop motion?
Right,
I still wasn't sure, but I think their intention was to make it stop motion, but then they just realized like that's too much to do. So I thought that was really cool, like how they animated it
to look like it was stop motion.
Yeah. The story itself was really great. So yeah, I really love that.
Yeah.
Tonko House would be another one where that would be, and they're here in the Bay Area too. So that'd be kind of cool to work with a small film studio like that.
That's a great dream project. That's a great answer. So we just want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. It's been awesome to finally get to have a conversation with you.
It's always fun.
Yeah, so you two have known each other for a few years, but never really met.
Never actually met. Yeah, so it's
because we're on different coasts.
Yeah. So I wonder if you could let us know where people can find you online.
Yeah, my website is reggiecomic.com, REGGIE comic.com. I am going to do a website overhaul soon to make room for Pip, because right now it's like Reggie Central, but you can find me at reggiecomic.com. And then I'm a little bit active on social media. It's Jen Deo Art, Jen Deo Art, mostly on Instagram, a little bit on Blue Sky.
Awesome.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thanks
and
so
when
much.
is Pip coming out?
Pip and Pals is out next summer. I don't have the exact date yet. So summer 2026 for the first book. And then the second book should be the year following.
Cool.
That's awesome. You're going to be busy.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
I'm excited to hear more about the middle grade one as soon as you can talk about it.
Yeah. Right now it's not a thing yet. It's still like in development and ready to go out on submission hopefully soon. But yeah, I'm hoping I can share some good news about it soon.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was so nice to talk to you both.
Yeah, it was super cool.